Esteemed members, good evening. If you can hear me, kindly let us know on the chat. You can type your name and let us know which branch of PSK you're joining us from. Thank you, Dr. Lemayan. Thank you, Dr. Muthoni from Nairobi branch, Karibuni. Dr. Amsalu, Dr. Timothy, Karibuni sana. Thank you for joining. Dr. Benedict from Kisumu, Karibuni sana. Dr. Mazoya from Kilifi, Karibu. So as we wait for our colleagues, kindly just subscribe on all the events that we've had this year on the PPB portal. And specifically for this event, search for the keyword dermatological, and you'll be able to find this event. So just spare some few minutes, go to the PPB portal, search for this event, Pharmacists in Dermatological Care, and subscribe. Thank you for joining. For those who are joining us now, welcome. We are just subscribing to this event on the PPB portal. So kindly spare some few minutes, go to the PPB portal and search for this event and use the keyword dermatological to find it easy. Thank you for sharing your branches and counties. I see we have representatives from Tana Athi, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kiambu, Makueni, Meru, Nandi, Karibuni sana. If you've not subscribed, kindly do so. Search for the keyword dermatological on PPB portal. For those who've joined us, welcome. We're just subscribing on the PPB portal for this event. Kindly use the search keyword dermatological, and you'll be able to find this event. Also, if you've not subscribed to the other previous events you've had, kindly do so. This will enable the CPD coordinator to send the CPDs to you all on time. All right, so we'll now get started. Thank you all for joining today's webinar, which is on pharmacists in dermatological care. And our sponsor today is L'Oreal Dermatological Beauty. And we have two wonderful speakers who will be sharing insights on pharmacists in dermatological care. And our first speaker is Dr. Evelyn Alela, who is the head of medical at L'Oreal Dermatological Beauty, and Dr. Karimi Murage, who is the digital and medical marketing at L'Oreal. And aside from that, we'll also have two speakers who are pharmacists who are also practicing in the same area, and that is Dr. Noor Said and Dr. Anita Ochieng. Just before we get started, once again, to remind you, kindly ensure that you subscribe to this event on the PPB portal. And if you have any questions during the event, kindly use the Q&A tab, which is at the bottom of the window, and your questions shall be addressed by the presenters at the end of the session. And also to remind you that you'll be muted during the entire course of this session. If you have any questions, use the Q&A tab. This session is being recorded and will be made available on the PSK YouTube page. Just briefly on the agenda, first we'll have the presentation by Dr. Evelyn Alela, and also some few remarks from Dr. Noor and Dr. Anita. Then later on, we'll have a presentation by Dr. Karimi, and then a Q&A session that will be run by my colleague, Dr. Miles. And finally, some few remarks from the PSK Education Committee Chair, Dr. Michael Mungoma. So at this point, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Dr. Evelyn Alela, to do her presentation. Dr. Evelyn, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Hezron, and just give me a second to share my screen, and then we can start.
Okay.
All right. Do I need to share my video, or you're fine like this?
Yeah, you can share. I think you'll be more about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here partnering with PSK to talk about what pharmacists can do in dermatological care, which is something that we have seen in our area of work, that is working with dermatologists. And we'd like to share this today with you, and just to also highlight and show the opportunities that are available for pharmacists in the field of dermatology. So I will start by, okay, the slide is not moving. Okay, there we go. All right, so we all know what the skin is, but just to mention, it is the outermost protective covering of the body, also known as the integumentary system, a complex organ which has various functions, which include protecting against physical injury, against pathogens and dehydration, regulating temperature, and of course, synthesis of vitamin D. And why would the skin be important to a pharmacist? It is because the skin is a target organ for various dermatological medications and treatments. So we deal with lots of medications that are designed to be applied topically on the skin, some with an effect right on the skin, and some whereby they're absorbed to give a desired effect within the various systems of the body. This could be in form of creams, ointment, gels, lotions, and patches. So we have seen that and especially those of us who practice in the community pharmacy space, patients and people love pharmacists, or they love whoever is behind the counter that they find in the chemist or the pharmacies. And why is this? Because they're satisfied with the care that they get there, with the recommendations that they get there. And also, it has been shown to be cost effective to have some conditions handled by a pharmacist, and this include dermatological conditions. Evidence from developed countries has shown that pharmacists are often used as a source of advice on skin problems. And in most cases, especially for milder conditions, the pharmacist is the first stop before these patients go to see either their GPs or their dermatologists. And then there are various skin conditions that require long-term management. They are chronic, naming, for example, eczema, even acne, and psoriasis. These are conditions that require a high degree of self-management because of the long-term treatment that is required. And this is one of the reasons why patients would seek secondary help from pharmacies, because, of course, we know the difficulties and the burden of going back for review with the doctors. So, and why is this? Because it is convenient and it's accessible to get professional advice from the pharmacy. So we as pharmacists, our role is very much aligned in working with patients who are self-managing their long-term skin conditions or skin diseases, if you may. So what are the things that we can do as pharmacists in participating or in playing our role in dermatological care? So one, product recommendation. So the basis of all this is that pharmacists are trusted by patients, and many a times they trust the advice and the recommendation that they get from pharmacists. So whether you're working as a community pharmacist or a hospital pharmacist, you're in a position whereby you can recommend the right products for the patients, whether the product is just to be used for cosmetic purposes or for medical purposes, because there are some small minor conditions whereby a patient will walk in and seek your advice. So this is the point at which you'll be in a position to advise the patients on the right product that they can use. And why are we in this position to give the right product recommendation? It's because we have the knowledge of these ingredients. We know where these ingredients come from, right from scratch, from to the synthesis, to the stability of these ingredients, to what they do, the adverse events, and even the interaction of various ingredients that are found in these medications. So we are best equipped to give this advice to patients. And then it comes to allergies and sensitivities. There are times when someone may eat something and get an allergic reaction, or they may be sensitive to something, and they would walk into your pharmacy, and in talking to them and in inquiring, you will be able to advise them on the cause of the allergy, if they have all the right information. And at this point, you'll be able to advise them on what they need to use, whether it is just an oral antihistamine that they need, or they need to use a cream only, or they need to combine both. And then also there are skin conditions that are mild and can be managed very, very effectively and efficiently by a pharmacist. And this includes and is not limited to mild acne, for example. This is acne that may need just the use of dermocosmetic only, or just one acne product. And so while as we equip ourselves with the knowledge, then we'll be able to manage these skin conditions to the patients that visit us in the pharmacies. And a topic of great importance for us tonight is sun protection. We cannot overemphasize the importance of sun protection, as you will see with the presentation that Karemi will share with you a little bit later. We tend to dispense a lot of drugs to patients, some which cause photosensitivity. And I don't know if there is anyone here who has ever recommended sun protection to a patient who has received a drug that will cause sun sensitivity on the skin. So this is an area that we can show our expertise, because we are the ones who know, one, these drugs that cause sun sensitivity. And then, of course, when it comes to skincare routine, some patients or people just want a simple skincare routine to maintain their skin health. So remember, we know the ingredients, we know the contraindications, we know the interactions, we are recommending the products. So we will be best placed to recommend a skincare routine, which would include a cleanser, a moisturizer, sun protection, and any other product, maybe a serum that will be required for a certain positive or desirable effect on the skin. For example, I believe those of us who are on social media, we've seen a lot of talk about using retinols on the skin. And there are many precautions that are not taken, mainly because the people who are dispensing these products are not aware of the risks or how to use this retinol. So this comes back to you as the pharmacist who knows this ingredient inside and out and what it does and how it can best be used, to be the one to advise the patient or the client on the best skincare routine that they can adopt for their skin health, for aesthetic purposes, and even for beauty. I spoke about drug interactions. Of course, we know best how different drugs interact with each other. We know that, for example, you may not want to give a retinoid to a patient who is using skin acids. For example, if they're using alpha hydroxy or beta hydroxy acids, we know that we don't want to give these drugs together because of the reaction that they will get. And of course, we know that these patients tend to mix a lot of these things, and it is our duty to advise them on what they need to use and how they need to use it, what they can use either in the morning and at night, just so that we can minimize the drug interactions which may sometimes aggravate the skin condition that we are trying to manage. And another really, really important thing that we would play a big part is when it comes to adverse events. We know that there are lots of drugs that manifest adverse events on the skin. We have seen sulfur reactions, which cause serious side effects on the skin. So in this case, number one, we know we need to stop the drug. And then secondly, what do we do to heal or to help treat the skin, what has happened to the skin? Then we'll manage the adverse event in this way. And also for hospital-based pharmacies, especially in oncology, we know that chemo causes some adverse events on the skin, which could be dryness, cracking, and of course the side effects that comes with radiotherapy, which could cause the skin to be irritated and to burn. There are products which you can recommend to these patients to help manage or alleviate or help control these adverse events that come with these necessary treatments that in many cases we cannot withdraw. So if you want to keep your patient on chemo, then at least let's manage the skin side effect, which in some patients will be serious, and we do not know how they would respond in terms of, do I want to stop this because it's doing this to me? So this also would help the patients to adhere once we are able to manage the adverse events that they are getting with the treatments that they have and that they need. And then another very, very important role that we have as pharmacists is educating the patients, educating the public through various media and various forums. And one, the community pharmacist has direct interaction with patients. So you are in a great position influence, and you will be able to advise the patients and educate them on, one, the right products that they can use, and two, how to use these products, and then three, what to use with what. Basically just giving them the wholesome health education, including even just general health education on even lifestyle that they need to adopt to have healthy skin. And another one that I know many pharmacists do is compounding. I believe we have received some prescriptions from dermatologists that require us to mix a few powders with a few liquids to manage various skin conditions. So yes, this is a role that we play to the patients. And apart from the prescriptions that we get from dermatologists and other doctors, we are in a position of even formulating skincare products for managing mild skin conditions. And I think we have seen that there are very many skincare product formulators in Kenya at the moment. And from the ones I have seen, especially on social media, I have not seen any pharmacist who is compounding skincare products for people to use. So this is a huge gap. And I believe this is one of the source of even the adverse events that that we see patients coming with because of the products that they use. Because this person has no, they have no chemistry background. They do not understand the pharmacology of the things that they're mixing. They just know that salicylic acid is a good keratolytic agent. So I can mix it with this cream and make an acne cream. And so are they aware of how to get the right concentrations and to mix them with the right vehicle and for the product to have the right stability. So this is information that we as pharmacists are the custodians of. And I believe anybody out there would be more comfortable buying a product that has been formulated by a pharmacist vis-a-vis buying a product that has been formulated by a non-medical individual, if I may call them that. Another area that we can play our part in is patient advocacy and counseling. We are the first stop for many patients for various reasons for skincare. And in dermatology, we see that some of these conditions have psychosocial negative effects on patients because of how they look. For example, we have seen studies where patients who have acne, for example, they have acne, post-acne marks. This interferes with their self-esteem and their confidence. And so how about looking at getting into, I don't know what to call it now, but psychodermatology or whatever it may be, whereby because you have direct contact with this patient, you are in a position to counsel them and to talk to them and to encourage them to continue using their medication, to be patient with it. Because another thing we have seen is that patients on dermatological treatment are usually very impatient. They want to see results instantly. And I think that is the reason why you find patients moving from one product to another, to another, to another. And I think this is where we will come in as pharmacists to encourage our patients to adhere to their medication, to be patient and allow the medication to work. Then another thing, of course, referrals. Pharmacists being professionals will know when to stop. So I believe we will not find a pharmacist trying to manage severe acne in their chemist, or like we have seen other skin product sellers do, because you know that this is the point at which I need to send this patient to a dermatologist because they need oral medication. And some of this oral medication, for example, if a patient is on isotretinoin, they need some of their function tests to be checked, liver, kidney, because we know the adverse events that comes with some of these medications, and they'll need supportive therapy. They will need like a lot of medications, which we will to manage the condition. So in this case, we partner with dermatologists in managing these skin conditions. So the dermatologist will not view you, the pharmacist, as a competitor, but as a partner, because you know where your role in managing this dermatological patient begins and ends, and where the dermatologist comes in. And we have seen, or rather we know in Kenya, we have a huge shortage of dermatologists. I think the latest numbers show that we have less than 60 dermatologists in Kenya. These are the certified ones, and they cannot go around the 50 million Kenyans. Of course, not all 50 million need medical care, but they're not enough. So we as dermatologists, need to step up and help manage the milder ones that come to us, so that they don't end up in the hands of, I do not want to call them quacks, but people who are not trained and have the relevant knowledge to manage these skin conditions. And now to what I would want to call the elephant in the room is regulation of skincare, whether it is regulation of prescription medicine or regulation of dermocosmetics. So these are images that I have picked from Instagram, and these are, I will call them drugs because they are prescription-only medications, and they are sold out of beauty stores. And why is this happening? Because it is not regulated. Why isn't this regulated? I will leave it to us as a pharmacist to what can we do with this sort of information. The one on the right, for example, is a cream that contains 3 active ingredients: hydroquinone 4%, tretinoin, and fluocinolone, which is a corticosteroid. So hydroquinone was banned in Kenya at some point, and I think they only allowed up to 2%, but this is a 4% hydroquinone being sold off a beauty store. So I don't know what sort of advice the person who gives this product gives the patient or the client that they are dispensing this drug to. So this herein lies a huge gap in our system. I think some years back, very many years back, products were sort of regulated. It reached a point where you could not buy a simple betamethasone without a prescription. I think there's a lot of lag on that at the moment. And this is a place where we need to step up and ensure that we are advocating for our patients and protecting our patients, just to ensure that they are well managed out there. And the result of proliferation of beauty shops and unqualified people selling and dispensing this sort of creams, including these high concentration pills, is conditions that look like this. These are conditions that end up at a dermatologist's clinic, and this is probably a patient who should not have ended up at the dermatologist's clinic. Why? Because they landed in the hands of an unqualified person. So if we as pharmacists were known out there to be skincare experts, and this person landed at the chemist or the pharmacy where I am or you are, we would not be in this situation whereby we are now treating an injury, or I don't know what degree of burns the doctors would call this. So yeah, I have gone through a couple of things and a couple of opportunities where we as pharmacists can step up and serve our patients and the community in terms of the expertise that we have and the promise that we have made to do what is right for the patients. So I will stop right here for a moment, and then I would like to invite Dr. Anita Achieng. I think you can start by turning on your camera. Anita is a pharmacist. She's a community pharmacist. She's a medical content creator and an influencer. She's also a reproductive health champion, a skincare expert, a social media consultant. She wears many hats, and she's pursuing a course in dermatology, which I'd like her to shed some more light on and share with us the opportunities or what directed her to this path of being, I don't know whether we'll call her a dermatology pharmacist or a dermatologist. We'll get to figure that out. So Anita, please give us a few remarks.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So thank you, Alela, for the amazing introduction. So as you can see on the screen, my name is Dr. Anita Achieng. Yes, I wear many hats. So for me, the spark with skincare started when I was working at the community pharmacy, and I ended up over dispensing Mediven, not as a because people were consulting or anything. It's because somebody had a skincare issue, and from where they had started the skincare journey, they had always been using Mediven. So a lot of clients came in asking for Mediven, and I just gave it out without even proper inquiry on why they were using it. So that sparked my interest, and I started getting more involved in the skincare space. So they were misusing it because Mediven, is hydrocortisone. And especially people with eczema, it's used as a first-line treatment to just get rid of the flare-ups. But then nobody was giving permanent solutions to the problem. Ideally, it's supposed to be used for a maximum of 7 days, and after that, you're supposed to use ointments or creams like the emulsifying ointments or things that are heavy that can solve the problem or can sort of take care of the problem long term. Using non-fragrant soaps is also some of the things that need to be done, and nobody was talking to them or advising them on this. It was like when they have a flare up, they know what to do and what to get. So there's a lot of miscommunication and misconceptions around skincare. So for brands like L'Oreal, they have amazing products. Honestly, it really blew my mind the first time that I came across their products and was able to interact with how their product offers long-term solutions. Given that in this century, there's a lot of diseases that are coming, lifestyle issues. Many babies are also born with eczema, unlike back in the day. So parents don't know what resort to turn to. And for me, I always say pharmacists are the first line for everyone. If anyone gets sick right now, they'd go to a pharmacy before they go to a doctor. If they get a flare up, they'd go to a pharmacy before they get to a doctor. So we needed to be equipped with ways and solutions to handle this. So that's how my skincare interest started. And so for instance, does anyone know what the basic skincare routine is? Dr. Alela has just mentioned it. Maybe you can just type it on the chat box. These 3 steps to a skincare routine. If anyone can type. Yes, Margaret, good. Anyone else? There's 3 things I'm supposed to do: cleanse, moisturize, and sunscreen. Yes. So those are the basics. And as a pharmacist, these are also when clients come and they're like, okay, I want to have a skincare routine. I have this and this issue. I don't know where to start. And the beauty stores, as Alela has just mentioned, they're dispensing things that even shouldn't be. Even the routines the clients are getting are so wrong. It even blows my mind and makes me so angry because we are the ones who are supposed to take care of these guys. Like, we're the ones who are supposed to take care of the society. And if they end up in the wrong hands, we have a part to play in if we do not if we do not change this. So yes, the basics are cleanse, moisturize, and sunscreen. How I got into dermatology as a course, well, I'm studying in the University of South Wales in the UK. So it offers dermatology as a course for all medics. So because in Kenya, you'd have to ideally be a medical doctor before you get into dermatology. But the ideology was, if we are the ones compounding medications at the back end and we are the ones dispensing medications first line, then we need to also be equipped with the knowledge on how to handle situations related to skin. So for anyone who's interested, there's still a lot of space in the industry. If you want to get into it, you learn so much more, even beyond just ingredients in skincare. You'd also learn on skin cancers. And yes, sunscreen is very important. And if anyone is working at a community pharmacy, I'd highly encourage you to at least stock 1, 2, 3 brands of sunscreen. That is one of the most basic skincare ingredients, and it helps prevent people from skin cancer. And cancer is really prevalent currently in Kenya. Yes. I believe I've answered all the questions that Dr. Alela has mentioned. Also, my page is Dr. Drug Kenya on Instagram. If anyone has any skincare any skincare issues, or if you'd like to direct your clients for a proper skincare consultation, you can check me out on Instagram and also TikTok. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anita. And if you may, please type your handle or the link to your Instagram on the chat box, so that we may follow you and get to learn more about skincare. Is Dr. Noor ready for us?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So Dr. Noor is a pharmacist, a social media marketer, and a skincare educator. Would be interested in knowing what a social media marketer, or what a pharmacist is doing in social media marketing, and what are the benefits. Yeah, so karibu Daktari.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Dr. Noor Said, and I was a classmate with Dr. Anita. So I'm very happy that we got to get into skincare and view and change the perception of the role of a pharmacist beyond the usual and what people practice as a norm. So I'm a pharmacist, and I got into social media marketing, let's say by default, back in 2021, I believe, when I was doing my attachments. And my story is a bit similar with Dr. Anita, because I was practicing in a community pharmacy where I saw a lot of women who came to buy Mediven. They were purchasing Mediven, and their skins were in lack of a better term, like they were in horrendous states, and most of them were peeling off, or they had the hyperpigmentation, so many skin issues. And I could pick from a few things that it was the steroid that was causing most of their conditions. And just by intervening, I was able to change a few of the ladies' perception. And that's where I started my social media marketing journey. It was just in a consultation room in Good Life as an attaché. I was seated and I was like, you know what? I think people need to really know why this thing is bad. And I just turned on my camera and I spoke, and I made a short video and I posted it on TikTok. And funny enough, the first video I posted is the one that got the most attention, and people had a lot of questions, especially our community. They had a lot of questions, and I did this video specifically in Swahili, and that's how I was able to reach a very big audience. because they could relate and they could understand. It was something that a layman could understand. So it made it easy for them to ask questions. Why is this thing bad? Why shouldn't I use it? How should I use it? For which indications is it supposed to be used? So from there on, I've been marketing and educating. Mostly I educate my followers on the skincare routine, on the importance of taking care of your skin, of protecting your skin, why it's important to use a sunscreen. And I was very glad that L'Oreal Dermatology Beauty reached out. I've been working with them through CeraVe and La Roche-Posay. And it's been amazing in terms of providing solutions to the people on how they can start a skincare routine, which is both dermatologically approved, and as well as something cost-friendly, which does not trigger any adverse reactions. And what I love about this is the fact that L'Oreal Beauty insists on involving the pharmacist. And as a pharmacist, this really like draws me and keeps me together with them, because the most important message when we are delivering these videos in our social media platforms, or when I'm educating, is I also educate the people on why it's important for them to purchase only from pharmacies, because as a pharmacist, you're able to track down if there are any adverse reactions somebody has. They can come to you and you can lodge a complaint. We have product recalls. We've learned so many of these in our trainings, and this is where you get to actually practice such principles, because when they buy them from legit suppliers, which is a pharmacist, from legit suppliers, and they're supplied to a pharmacist, then it makes it very easy for you to know how the product is working for the patient. And if there are any issues with the product, you can easily pick it out and correct it from the company itself. So this thing has made it very easy in terms of how to practice. And I love that as a pharmacist, there's so much we can do. Dr. Alela has mentioned that she had seen those pictures on Instagram of the azelaic and the tretinoins being sold, and that is the truth in most situations. I had these patients that were coming in through my social media pages. They had been seen by some dermatologists I'd recommended, and the major concern was, where do I purchase these things? And funny enough, as pharmacists, we've never taken our space and claimed it that, we stock this stuff. Because if I send a patient out I send any of my follower, go to this particular pharmacy or any pharmacy within your neighborhood and try to look for azelaic acid, I'm 100% sure they won't get it. And that is the sad reality. We have chosen to focus on other things while we have so many hats to wear. And we've left this market to people who don't know how to advise people on how to use it, the importance of using these things in moderate ways. So this tasks us with the role of, when do we actually go beyond our scope? When do we decide, this is enough, and there's more to practicing pharmacy than just prescribing or dispensing Piritones and the usual medicines, So we have this new task which we can take up, and I'm very glad that dermatology is being spoken about, and a brand like L'Oreal Beauty is really trying to engage us and make pharmacies as part of the dermatology world, because we really have a big role to play, and we know we are the custodians of this information. We are the custodians of all these drugs, and we should really claim it. And lastly, when I speak about the importance of having this knowledge, it's because at the end of the day, we're the first source in case of any condition somebody has within the neighborhood. That's the first stop. They come to the pharmacies, either in the community, either at your house. I live in Mombasa now, and one thing I know, I live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of Swahili people, and they literally come to my door and knock and ask, what medicine can I use for A, B, and C? They would not bother to go to a hospital. If you ask them to go see a specialist, it's like you're trying to ask them of the impossible, or to go to the moon. You know, it's very hard for them. So it shows how much trust we have with our communities. But when do we decide to take up this responsibility and actually own it to the fullest? Yeah, so with this, thank you very much, Dr. Leila and Dr. Anita. I wish you all the best in your dermatology cause, and please come back and train and educate people and create awareness and show the importance of pharmacists in such a space. Yeah. Also, my social media is Dr. Noor Said, just like my name. You can find it on TikTok or on Instagram. It's Nouri's Healthgram, which is also Dr. Noor Said. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Noor. And I think we'll add another line to what you do. You are a patient advocate. You have done it so well. You have really, really advocated for your patient. And so these are just two pharmacists out of the many of us who have ventured into the space of dermatology. And they've shared a little bit about the things that we can do as pharmacists. And I believe that what they did not mention is that some of these activities they're doing on the side are also sources of additional income, which is, of course, what we are all looking for. So maybe you could reach out to them on the side and just get to delve more into what they do. Dr. Noor, if you can, please type your handle on the chat box so that we can follow you. So before I hand over to Karimi to give to take us a little bit through on sun protection, I will talk about continuing educations, and we need to stay updated on the latest development in dermatology, and this will allow us to provide our patients and other healthcare professionals that we interact with the current information and recommendations. So we have a website that I will tell you about shortly. So first I would ask, what type of websites do you regularly consult when you need information or when you're looking for online content of interest to you? There are various journals, sometimes social media is a source of information, and many others. So at L'Oreal Dermatological Beauty, we have a website that is called L'Oreal Dermatological Beauty Pro. And this is a website that allows you to, you will learn, you will expand your knowledge, you will get to know about the latest development in dermatology globally. There are quizzes, there are short courses that you can do to upskill your knowledge. And then you could also have access to content from international congresses. So you can pick by topic of interest what you want to read about or to watch or to learn about. So I will just share a video with you, giving you a summary of what the LDB Pro website has to offer. And then I will type the link on the chat box.
Dr. Evelyn, I think you need to share with the sound. I don't think we can hear.
Sorry?
We can't hear the sound. So maybe
let me share the sound. Okay, and start again. Is it on now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that is about LDB Pro. I will share the joining link where you can sign up on the chat box, and then we'll be able to interact with a lot of information that can enhance our dermatological knowledge. So I will invite Dr. Karemi Murage, my colleague. She works in digital and medical marketing to share her presentation with you. So Karemi, you can share your screen.
All right. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So just a minute, let me put my camera on. So let's get into the good stuff, right? Today we're going to talk about sun damage and its biological effects. First of all, I have a question for everyone. You can comment in the chat section. Do dark-skinned people need sunscreen? So yeah, I can see so many yeses, so many yeses. Yes, yes, this is good. Okay. All right. So let's look a little bit into why it's important for us to wear sunscreen, especially during this time of the year that we're going to be on holiday. This time we'll be outside our homes, doing a lot of nyama choma. We'll be out basking in the sun regardless of the weather. Let us see what this entails. So there's different types of radiation that the sun normally produces, and mainly our focus point for is going to be the UVA, UVB, and the UVC rays. So we all know that the sun produces ultraviolet rays, and they're now classified as UVA, UVB, or UVC rays. I'll start with the UVC rays. Lucky for us, they're the most dangerous rays that are produced by the sun. But because we have the ozone layer, they are normally stopped the atmosphere, so that does not get to reach us. So our main concern will be the UVAs and the UVB, mainly because one, the UVA penetrates the epidermis and they're dispersed to the dermis. As you can see from my diagram to the right, then UVA rays normally pass through clouds and they pass through glass, and prolonged exposure to these rays normally damages our collagen and elastin within the dermis. So for UVB rays, normally they just penetrate the epidermis. They have a high frequency and they stimulate the overproduction of melanin. Prolonged exposure causes suntans and sunburns. That's why probably when you've stayed out in the sun for a long time, you're most likely to come back in the house, or rather when you come back indoors, you're a little, just like one shade darker than you are. That is what we refer to as suntanning. For sunburns, these are relative. There's people who actually do get sunburned. I'm sure quite a number of us who have been out in the sun for extended periods have experienced sunburns. And according to the way we classify the skin at the top there, there's the Fitzpatrick scale, where we have skin types 1 all through skin type 6. And mostly for skin color, we normally fall between skin type 4 to skin type 6. Let's look at the mechanism of sun damage and its effects. This is just a simple process of what actually happens behind what we cannot see, because it's actually difficult for people with our skin type to actually tell if you can have a sunburn, but this is actually what happens. So number one, when you're exposed to UV rays, the collagen and elastin that is within your epidermis and dermis is normally, which is very crucial for the skin structure and the elasticity of the skin, is damaged. This is going to lead to formation of free radicals, or rather things we normally call the reactive oxygen species, which when they accumulate and they actually overwhelm the cells, it causes an imbalance within our skin and consequently lead to oxidative stress. And due to this instability within our cells, oxidative stress is normally associated with pathological conditions, which now result as photosensitivity and photoaging. Then, after these free radicals are produced, collagen and there's reduced collagen and there's a breakdown of the elastic fibers, which consequently now lead to uneven pigmentation, which also talked about the skin tanning. And this consequently results to weakened skin barrier when now the skin is now compromised. It's either burned, or now you're feeling the itchiness or very sensitive on your skin because of these effects. To the right, you can see a picture. We can see from the sun, we get the UVA and the UVB rays. An easy way to remember actually is that UVA normally causes aging, the A for aging, and UVB normally is what is responsible for the sunburns that we normally experience. So, what do we offer as a L'Oreal Dermatological Beauty for this? We've spoken, I'm sure there's such a popular brand out there, Anthelios, and today we're going to talk about it. We want to see what Anthelios actually offers for us and what it actually does for us. It's not just a beautiful brand that we all know. It really does have a lot behind it. A lot of the UV rays that reach our skin are the ultra long UVA rays. And as you can remember from my previous slide, the UVA rays are the ones which are more penetrating to our skin. And the ultra long UVA rays are between the 380 to 400 nanometers, and they are not efficiently covered by our melanin in the skin. So we really do need something additional to protect our skin, and especially now, since we know a lot of environmental pollution which has been happening, and carbon emissions which have been depleting our ozone layer. So it's important for us to have something that actually boosts the melanin that we have so that we are protected the entire time. So and this has a patented filter, one of the biggest revolutions, and a filter that we have done so much research on for 30 years, and we call it the Mexoreal 400, which filters the most insidious UV rays up to 400 nanometers. Mexoreal 400 is a photostable sun filter that is not broken down by sunlight, and because it works as a filter, it absorbs the UV light and dissipates it as, rather reflects the light as heat. For safety precautions, Mexoril 400 is not absorbed through the skin. Rather, it acts as it sits on the skin as a filter, and a film. And so far, there's no safety issues that has been reported by consumers with regards to Mexoril. So, Mexoril 400 is in all our sunscreen that we actually have in that we actually prefer, or rather we recommend for people it's recommended for use on the face, sorry. Normally we have different types of sunscreen because, of course, we do cater to different needs of patients. For example, there's actually consumers who have dry skin and have consumers who have oily skin. So what I'm telling you, UVMune 401 is to give ultimate protection against the UVA and UVB rays up to 400 nanometers. And then it's also ultra resistant. This is because of the netlock technology that is incorporated in our sunscreen. Just a bit about to talk about our netlock technology. It's an interlocking system, or rather it's a system that locks now the Mexoril 400 in an ultra thin film that is now invisible on the skin and increases the efficiency of the Mexoril 400 by staying on the skin surface for a longer period of time. And also because of this netlock technology, it increases the resistance of water and sweat on the skin. Therefore, it protects you from the effects of UVA, UVB for a longer time. Something else that we have in our sunscreen is something we call the XL Protect, which is also a unique filter against the UVB rays and an antioxidant complex. Remember, I talked about the reactive species and the free radicals that are formed on our skin. Now, because of the presence of vitamin E, bacaline, and La Roche-Posay thermal water, this complex ensures there's minimal or there's a reduced production of these free radicals that will consequently now lead to pigmentation and leading to a compromised skin barrier. So all the three technologies I've talked about, they're mostly found in all our main Anthelios SKUs, which will mean all our Anthelios products. And for our sunscreen, we do have the chemical sunscreens and we also have physical sunscreens. I know there's many people of you who normally ask what's the difference between a chemical sunscreen and a physical sunscreen. So today, I want to just maybe talk to you about the differences of both. And one, for chemical sunscreens, they contain organic compounds that absorb UV radiation, and the common filters include the avobenzone, acrylchlorine, octinoxate, and oxybenzone. There's this what do I call it? There's this information that is normally passed around so many social media platforms that it does not leave behind a white cast, something like that. I'm sure so many of you have heard about this, and this is the reason why. It's because it contains these kind of chemical filters. These filters are invisible and they are actually absorbed inside the skin. But for physical sunscreen, they normally leave behind a white cast because they contain mineral-based compounds such as zinc oxide or titanium dioxide as their APIs. Also, chemical sunscreens, they work by absorbing the UV rays, as I had talked about, and transforming them into heat, which is then released from the skin. And also, chemical sunscreens are lighter and cosmetically elegant. That's why people actually prefer them because they are easier to apply. They don't take long to absorb on the skin. They're water resistant, sweat resistant, and also require more frequent application because they are for properties. On the other hand, the physical sunscreen also, instead of absorbing now the UV rays as the chemical sunscreens, they normally form they create a physical barrier reflecting and scattering the UV rays. They also tend to be thicker and may leave a visible white cast on the skin. This is what I'm talking about, that they're not easily absorbed in the skin. And then for both kind of sunscreen, they do need reapplication for maximum and effective protection. So for our La Roche-Posay catalog, we cater to all patient needs or consumer needs. And specifically, we do have a category for face, for whole body, and for our children. So for our face, we have the Anthelios UV 400 invisible fluid and the hydrating cream. As I had talked about earlier, the invisible fluid is for people who actually prefer lightweight and less greasy sunscreens, whereas the hydrating cream is for people who need a lot more moisturization for their skin. We have now introduced something like a spray, sunscreen spray, especially for ladies who usually apply makeup, and they normally ask, how do I get to reapply sunscreen in the middle of the day without needing to redo the liquid sunscreen? So we have introduced the Anthelios Invisible Mist Spray, which is supposed to be used as a reapplication. And for the whole body category, we also cater to the needs of the people who have dry skin, and we also cater for the people who have normal to oily skin. The normal to oily skin type being the invisible spray, the one you can see with a yellow strip, and then the one in the blue strip, it means it's a hydrating lotion. For all our products, the ones that they are very coded, anything that you'll see in yellow with a yellow strip, as you can see from my diagram here, is meant for normal to oily skin, but anything with a blue strip is actually meant to be for the people who have dry skin. Then, last but not least, not forgetting our children, we have sunscreen for children from 3 years to 12 years of age. And because we know our children normally actually do have, children actually tend to have drier skin type, we actually have the Anthelios Pediatrics Invisible Spray, which is a hydrating sunscreen. And also, not forget the little ones from 6 months to 3 years of age. We have a smaller one, which is a physical sunscreen for these children, but also we have introduced a new chemical sunscreen for these children, just because there's parents who prefer the chemical sunscreen, which applies better, and you'll be seeing it in your pharmacies soon. So let me take you away from the sun protection first, and maybe ask or rather maybe create a scenario where you've gone out, you've been out in the sun for a long time, then you're developing now the photosensitivity, you're already burning, rather you can see your child is already irritated and they're looking for something that can soothe what the effects of prolonged sun exposure has been. So we really also offer another solution for such kind of cases, because there's times even when you have sunscreen on, depending on the period that you have spent, the period you've spent outside in the sun, or rather the time you spent outdoors, you can actually still suffer from sunburns. So we have Sika Plus, which is a range that favors accelerated repair for sensitive, irritated, and damaged skin by the sun, or any other mechanical trauma to the skin. So Sika Plus normally protects the skin, it soothes the skin and rapidly repairs the compromised skin barrier. So for example, we have patients who have been using, maybe a client has come to your pharmacy and they've been using a lot of benzoyl peroxide, maybe salicylic acid, but they've never been put on a sunscreen before. So they're coming to your pharmacy and they're saying they can feel so much, they're feeling a lot of irritation on their skin, or they're feeling a lot of itching and things like that. The first step you will take as a pharmacist is first prescribe something that is going to repair the skin barrier, right? So this is what Sika Plus does. You first recommend Sika Plus to the patient, then after the irritation has stopped, they can continue applying the sunscreen together with the medication that they are probably on. So just a recap on the Anthelios, what we have talked about. What Anthelios offers is optimal protection from every sun damage, from the UV rays, the UVA and UVB. Excellent photo stability, Mexoril 400, which is not broken down by sunlight. And then also, Anthelios has optimal concentration of filters. This means it just has the right dose necessary to guarantee optimal photoprotection, and it's evaluated through several clinical studies in various skin conditions. This means that our patented filter has been researched thoroughly on, and papers and studies have been done, and there's evidence for it. 30 years is not a joke, doing research on one particular chemical compound. That means it actually gives Anthelios credibility for what it actually does for our skin. Then Anthelios has a large choice of textures, as I have shown you in my previous slide. This makes Anthelios answer to patient needs and improving compliance to patients. So on to my final part and the last fun part. Of course, we can't leave this webinar without something good. So I want to ask a true or false question, and then you're going to answer me in the chat box. The first person to answer this correctly in the chat box is going to receive something really good from La Roche-Posay. So are we ready? Anyone can answer? Yes? Okay, great. So I think Hezron, you're going to help me here.
Hi, Dr. Rini. Yes.
Yes. So I want you to help me identify the person who will answer this question first.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a true or false question. What does Anthelios do? 1, I fight skin aging. I protect up to 400 mem. and I protect against UVA and UVB. So if you get the answer right, you're gonna unmute yourself and tell us the why. So anyone in the chat box, I need you to tell me what is false and what is true.
Okay. Anyone who is ready could please raise their hand so that I could unmute them.
So I can see a lot of true, all of the above. All are true. Still, guys, come on. We still don't have the answer yet. Most of us are saying all of this is true. Okay, so Felix Kemboi, could you unmute yourself and then you can give us, you can explain your answer.
Felix, could you please type your email so that I could promote you to panelist so that you can be able to speak?
Hello, Miles.
Yes.
You could just allow them to speak because I can see Dr. Professor Margaret
Maybe just open the mics for everyone.
Professor Margaret.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank Laurel for this session. Very important. I teach dermatological pharmacology. I emphasize the safe use of dermatological products, especially the very narrow difference between cosmetic and of course dermatological product for treatment. And I can see some of the young pharmacists who have come through the school, and I'm so glad to see them actually practicing out there, and I would encourage collaboration. I would request Dr. Alela to get in touch with me, see how we can start to encourage more pharmacists right from the training to get involved. I normally tell them that cosmetic industry is huge internationally, and right now pharmacists are missing in Kenya in this area. I normally encourage, but I've not been able to find a training that people can do masters. So I would request Dr. Lela, if you have some time, we could meet and work out a program. You could come and also give a talk to the students during the dermatological course. That would be nice for us to prepare them early. That's what I can say. Thank you.
All right. So I can see in the chat box, I have my correct answer. Someone called Faith Towet. Faith Towet, are you there?
Faith Toet, you can unmute.
Faith Towet, please unmute your microphone. Okay, anyone else who can tell us why Okay, Fifth Toyot said the answer is I fight skin aging is true. I protect up to 400 mm is false, and I protect against UVA and UVB is correct. So anyone who's willing to give us an explanation for this? Dr. Hezron?
Hello, I see there's a raised hand from Dr. Gwantai.
Could you please unmute them?
Yeah. I think they're already allowed to talk. Dr. Gwantai?
Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
How are you?
Good, Doc.
Okay. I think that the last one, that is, I protect against UVA and UVB, is the correct answer.
Yes.
And this is because we know very well, and you also have to emphasize that UVA and UVB are the rays that are responsible for damaging the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And you have explained the various wavelengths that are involved, including the short and the long wavelengths.
Yes.
And a product that will protect against UVA and UVB will be able to protect against skin aging and also skin aging. So UV, the last one, the last answer, UV, protecting against UVA and UVB is the one that covers everything. So it is the most correct. It is the most accurate answer.
All right. So I can see a lot of comments on the chat section. So there's the first person who answered this question, Felix Kemboi, was the first person to actually identify the correct answer. I fight skin aging is very true. I protect up to 400 millimeters is false. And I protect against UVA and UVB is very correct. What Anthelios does is to protect up to 400 nanometers, not millimeters, because wavelength is the wavelength that we cover, or what is received by the skin, is actually 400 nanometers, and that is our coverage. And Anthelios actually does protect you for up to 95% of these rays. So Felix Kemboi, you'll be going home with a small token of appreciation for this webinar, and this is what you will be receiving. Thank you. Maybe I could also talk a little bit about, finally, maybe just to wind up my session by talking about the importance of did pharmacists actually coming on board this side of pharmacy, the dermatological side. It's important for us, and especially me from the digital marketing space. Only us who are really empowered with the information and the education that we have already learned through our years of practice. It's only us who our community can actually get the right advice from all the platforms that we normally have, that is Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and the likes. There's so many self-proclaimed estheticians, dermatologists, pharmacists who can really advise our patients on everything. But I believe that we as pharmacists are best suited to tell our communities, especially on these platforms, and sending out the right information. with regards to products that our patients are using. This not only lies in the dermatological field, also in other practices of pharmacy that we, in other fields of pharmacy that we are involved in, we are best suited to actually even tell people the medication. We're best suited to give people MTMs. We're best suited to give the right information with regards to adverse effects, and also with the right people to give consumer education. Also, with our world being very dynamic and being very exposed to the digital world and exposed to a lot of online content, it's really important for us as pharmacists to upskill ourselves in the digital space so that we eventually we may actually add value to ourselves. See, like things like prescriptions are slowly going and are still prescriptions actually going online. We can see that from platforms like MyDawa, who are actually doing online prescriptions. So it is really important for us in the space of pharmacy to embrace the digital space. Yes, that is the end of my presentation tonight. I will hand this back over to Dr. Hezron.
Actually, I will be leading the Q&A session. Thank you so much, Dr. Karimi, for this wonderful presentation. You have shown us how dermatology is one of the areas a pharmacist can show their expertise. And we will jump right into the Q&A session. Just a reminder that if you have any questions, kindly use this tab as it is easier to track rather than the chat area. Dr. Evelyn Alela, are you still there? Dr. Bernard is asking whether we have whether we have any statistics about the prevalence of skin cancer in Kenya that you could be aware of.
Well, yes. I think the latest data that I have access to is 2020, whereby there was a little under 700 cases, which represents about 0.2% of the cancer prevalence in the country. But I think we are open to delving more into that. Because there was the cancer strategy that was released, I think, last year, could have more recent and more robust data on the prevalence of not just skin cancer, but various cancers in Kenya.
Okay, all right, thank you. Dr. Immaculate is a pharmacist currently doing their master's in cosmetic science and technology.
Okay.
They're inquiring whether it is possible to have any internship opportunities at L'Oreal.
Well, we do have them, and every time there is an opportunity, it is advertised. So I would suggest that she gets in touch with Karimi to explore this further.
Okay, all right. I hope that also answers you, Dr. Nyawera, who is interested in joining the team. This next question, I will address it to Dr. Karimi. Anonymous attendee is asking whether sunburn black marks are reversible, and if so, which products can they use?
All right. So for dark marks and
sunburn black marks, whether they are reversible and which products can be used.
All right, so reversing sun damage is not an easy task. It needs a consistent application of sunscreen, whereby sunscreen will actually try and reduce the hyperpigmentation caused. It may not work in vivo for the kind of damage that has already gone through, but it sure does alleviate the hyperpigmentation caused by sunburns.
I'll add on to that. Okay, Karimi, proceed. Then maybe I can add something.
Okay. Yeah. So the other question was what sunscreen they can use.
Yes,
What other
products can they
products?
use?
Or what other product or what other, okay. So for our La Roche-Posay catalog, we do have a hyperpigmentation range where we have a cleanser, serum that actually tackles with hyperpigmentation and a moisturizer. So this can actually be, hyperpigmentation can be dealt with, and we can in all our pharmacies where we distribute to, they can actually get information on the on the range that we specifically recommend for hyperpigmentation. Dr. Alela, if you have anything else to add.
Yes. So sun damage, like Karimi said, there are products that can tackle and reverse hyperpigmentation. However, there's some sun damage that is corrected through aesthetic procedures that are done by aestheticians, aesthetic physicians, or dermatologists, and this may include things like microneedling, deep skin peeling. These are the ones that can help alleviate a little bit, especially things like formation of fine lines and a little bit of the wrinkles that are caused by sun damage.
Okay, thank you. We have several other questions which I am going to combine. We have a question from Dr. Lillian Mora, whether the La Roche-Effaclar Duo can be used as a moisturizer. And also, while you're answering this, Dr. Karimi, could you comment on the use of sunscreens with non-cosmetics? Yes.
All right, so Effaclar is another topic that we will be still having on our platform here, PSK webinar. So that is an acne-based product, but yes, you can use it as a moisturizer, but you need to follow up with sunscreen, the Anthelios sunscreen. The other question was, sorry?
The other question
was something about
comment on the use of sunscreen with non-cosmetics.
With non-cosmetics. Okay.
With non-cosmetics.
With non-cosmetics.
Yes.
All right. So our sunscreen, I'll speak for La Roche-Posay. It's a very stable sunscreen. So yes, it can be used with other things. So for example, for ladies mostly, especially those who are using a makeup, after you've done your cleanse, moisturize, and sun protection routine, you can follow that now on top of with your makeup on. It's safe to use. And now for any reapplication, you'll need now to use the spray that I had earlier talked about. Yes.
Okay, thank you. This next question I will direct it to Dr. Alela. What's the best management of melasma? And while you're on that, there's a question from Dr. Bridget on whether we consider the skin Bowman typing system in the selection of sunscreen with consideration of sensitivity and pigmentation. Hello, Dr. Alela.
Sorry, I had muted briefly. I'll start with the skin typing question as I build on to talking about melasma. So the skin Bowman typing is definitely considered because they're not only on selection of sunscreen, but any skincare products, because this typing is based on what the skin is like, whether it is dry or oily, whether it is sensitive or resistant, pigmented or none, or wrinkle prone or light. So when you look at our offering of sunscreens, we have classified them as for dry or for oily skin. So yes, you can pick depending on the type of skin that you have. and our products have been tested on sensitive skin, so they are suitable for sensitive skin. Though, as we know, nothing would be 100% what it is. We have had cases, 1 or 2 of reaction to our products, in as much as they are safe for sensitive skin. And then for when you look at pigmented and non-pigmented, and this is where I'm going to talk about melasma. Dermatologists believe, or they prefer tinted sunscreens for patients or for people with melasma. And in addition to that, for a patient who has melasma, we will want to incorporate anti-pigmentation products for them as well. And then when we go to wrinkle-prone versus light skin, we would want to give, for example, a sunscreen that has antioxidants or ingredients that help either delay appearance of wrinkles or even sort of reduce the presence of wrinkles on the skin. I hope I've answered adequately.
Yes, thank you so much. So there's a question from Dr. Gitonga on what effects do makeups have on ladies, the ones they apply on their skins?
Well, we believe that everything that is applied on the skin may get absorbed, and what is absorbed in the skin could end up in our system. So it is highly recommended to use makeup that is produced by reputable manufacturers, and just read through the ingredient label and know what the makeup contains. Use the right makeup for your skin type. Yeah, so I guess that would help us maybe even reduce the sort of reactions or any adverse events that may come out of using makeup.
Okay, I hope that answers you, Dr. Gitonga. There's a question from Dr. Amon on that you should elaborate on the use of sunscreens concomitantly with topical antifungals for the treatment of dermatomycosis. And maybe while you're answering that, we could also tackle Dr. Mwaniki's question on how long should one reapply the Anthelios sunscreen?
So not limited to the use of sunscreen with antifungals on management of dermatomycosis, but we know and we have seen that the sun definitely does have an effect on the skin, and the sun actually aggravates the presence of any skin condition that a patient may have. That is why you find that not only in fungal infections, but also in acne and even in atopic dermatitis or eczema, we usually recommend that on top of the management for this particular condition, then a sunscreen would be preferred to reduce the sun damage that may aggravate the condition that is at hand. And in terms of reapplying the sunscreen, we say 2 to 3 hours, especially if someone is out there exposed to direct sunlight. And we've seen that the sun does penetrate our windows. So if you're indoors, maybe sitting near a window, you may extend the time for reapplication a little bit longer, maybe to even 4 or 5 hours. But this is really key, especially for those who are exposed to direct sunlight for long hours. So 2 to 3 hours or 4 to 5 hours, depending on where you are.
Okay. Thank you so much. Because of time, I think we'll tackle one last question. There's an inquiry on whether there are any counterfeits, and also an anonymous person is inquiring whether you guys have a price list for community pharmacies.
So there definitely are counterfeits in the market, and it has been said out there that when you find counterfeits of your product out there, it means that it's a really good product. So unfortunately, there are counterfeits in the market. especially of our sunscreen and a little bit more of our other popular products, even our sister brand CeraVe. So what we are doing as La Roche-Posay is, number one, our pipeline of distribution is strictly medical. So we supply our brands only to registered pharmacies and hospitals. And so that is why you'd find some places with a price that is not too low. So I think one of the red flags of a counterfeit product would be a ridiculously low price. But I know this is a war that is not easy to fight. We know how regulations are in this country, but we advocate for purchasing from pharmacies only, and we are open to even sharing the pharmacies that we are sure are stocking our legit brands.
Okay.
Maybe just one other important thing I've seen in the chat section. There's someone who's asking, kindly expound on the sun protection SPF factor figures and which one is preferred. So for SPF, there's so many sunscreen products out there, and you're going to see some are written SPF 30, SPF 25, SPF 15, SPF 60, and the like. So first of all, I'll start by saying the higher the SPF, the better the protection. But the most recommended one, and the one that a lot of research has been done on, is the SPF 50. So it doesn't mean that if you find a product that has maybe something like SPF 90 or so, it's going to protect you better. What has the clinical studies that have been done are on SPF 50 currently, the most current data that we have, and it shows that it actually SPF 50 blocks up to 98%. We don't have a sunscreen in the market which protects up to 100%. It normally ranges between 95 to 97%. Therefore, with the research that we have and the studies that have been done, SPF 50 is the most recommended SPF factor figure for all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Karimi. Because of time, I will just read one comment from Dr. Joseph. Dr. Joseph says, excellent job, Dr. Noor, Anita, Alela, and Karimi. Dermatological compounding and advising patients and members of the public is a fantastic area for pharmacists to demonstrate their expertise and input. When he worked in a hospital in Nandi, the experience was very exciting for him. Sometimes clinicians would send patients directly to the pharmacy because the confidence was great. He says the presentation was great and it was a good presentation. Allow me to pass this on to my colleague, Dr. Hezron, who will take it up from there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Miles, for that moderation for the Q&A. And at this point, I'd like to just welcome Dr. Michael Mungoma, who's going to give some remarks. Dr. Michael.
So much. Thank you so much, Hezron and Miles, for moderating such an exciting session. We've had a very good panel today talking about dermatological care. I think this is an area, as was mentioned there by Dr. Luca, and I think remarks also from Professor Guantai, which really signifies that it really attracted very good crowds today. For those that are joining us for the first time, this is part of a continuous CPD activity that PSK normally holds. So we normally have continuous medical education and on various topics. I also want to say that we are having very vibrant young pharmacists coming up. And congratulations again to those that presented in this session, in these unique areas, because it also encourages other people to, discover themselves and look for other niches that are there in this profession. I want to really appreciate L'Oreal. This has been a journey. I know we started with a conversation after Dr. Hezron had made some contact with you, and I think it's becoming more and more fruitful. This is just the beginning of very many sessions. It has already been insinuated there that we should be thinking about developing a course in this. I think we need to go into that direction. Pharmacies being one first point of care, of curiosity, of access to skincare products. So I think this is bigger than just this webinar. I want to again remind everyone that PSK has a journal, that is the Pharmaceutical Journal of Kenya. And I want to encourage everyone out there who has articles, who has manuscripts that they wish to share through this journal, to get in touch with the office, because this is one way, again, for those that are not only in academics, but those that want to have significance in terms of the profession can come and publish in the PJK. I want to sincerely thank again every effort towards this CME, Hezron and Miles and whoever else back in the office, and L'Oreal for supporting this. Thank you, and back to you, Hezron.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Michael Mungoma. So maybe just as we close as well, maybe I'll just give one chance to Dr. Alela to just give a closing remark, and maybe in 30 seconds before we close.
All right. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, PSK, for giving us this opportunity to start this journey together. And we will definitely work together. There are many, many opportunities, and where we can bring in our authority as pharmacists in enhancing dermatological care in Kenya. I will definitely reach out to Dr. Margaret Oluka, and we will see how we can make this even better. Thank you for the opportunity, and we appreciate the partnership.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Evelyn. So once again, to the L'Oreal team, Dr. Evelyn, Dr. Karimi, and the team that was also with us, Dr. Noor, Dr. Anita, thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your information with us. So as we close, I'd like to just share something small. Just give me a moment. Okay, so this is just a reminder that the 2024 membership renewal is now open. And again, for your licenses, the renewal notice has been sent out by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. So kindly renew your licenses early so that you can avoid the penalties that are associated with expiration. So I think you've all noticed that right now on your PPB website, there's a message that pops up saying the PSK subscription details not found. Kindly contact PSK to validate details. So to sort this issue out, you have to go to the PSK portal, members.psk.or.ke. Once you validate or pay your 2024 membership, you'll now be allowed to renew a license. That has been communicated via message today. So kindly, if you have any questions concerning that, look out for the posters that we share out. Dr. Amos and Rachel will be able to assist you. And also, just to remind you, there's a conference that is coming up for the Nyanza branch on 2nd December at Sarova. So for those who are members in those areas, kindly take advantage of that opportunity. And finally, we have the skills workshop that is happening this weekend at Aga Khan. For those who had registered, kindly note the change of venue. Initially, it was at USIU, but now we'll be having it at Aga Khan Pavilion, 5th Parklands. So And yeah, and finally, we have this activity again that will be happening at City Park. We'll be having a Zumba session, tree planting, and nature walk. So for those who are interested, kindly look out for the form that had been shared out. So that's the last presentation I had. Once again, thank you for the L'Oreal team. Dr. Mungoma, our chair for the Education Committee. Thank you for the commitment and supporting our initiatives. And also my co-moderator, Dr. Miles, thank you so much. So at this point, I'd like to end the meeting. Have a good night, everyone, and thank you.